I've used a few analog devices, mainly Gen 1 and Gen 3, and it set the hook into me in this hobby. I've never used digital night vision until I found this Nightfox Swift on eBay used. It's an older unit now that's been around a little longer than 5 years, and there's been many updates to the line, including a red version, the Swift 2, and the Swift 2 Pro. The Swift 1 and Swift Red have similar specs, with the main difference being the Red has video and audio recording. The Swift 2 and Swift 2 Pro models have a higher resolution digital sensor and screen, amongst other upgrades that you'd expect from an updated version of a unit. So why bother reviewing a device that's been out for more than half a decade now? Well, making these videos and seeing how different devices compare is fun. Besides that, the Swift 1 is still being sold on Nightfox's website, and I didn't find many videos online showing its performance in multiple scenarios, both inside and outdoors. Also, the screen resolution of the Swift 2 and Swift 2 Pro are much better than the Swift 1, and the prices aren't that much different. So I hope this video would help someone who might be thinking of buying one or the other. Keep in mind I'll be recording the device's screen with an iPhone, so it looks slightly better in real life. All that being said, let's get into it. The controls on the device are very simple. In the bottom left corner you got the power button. You hold that for a few seconds to turn it on. Digital brightness above that, and the zoom button above that. On the right side you have IR plus and IR minus, which increases or decreases the amount of light the emitters put out. The rubber eyepiece is soft and pliable, and it creates a nice seal around your face to prevent the light from the screen to illuminate your background. On the bottom here you have 6 screw holes covered by rubber caps that you'd have to remove if you ever needed to replace this battery, because it is not easily removable like the new devices. Also on the bottom you have the focus wheel that spins the lens around the digital camera, and you also have the 2 IR illuminators. Because I purchased mine used, it didn't come with the original box or the manual. It did come with this neck strap. It's nice and padded, but realistically I'll never use it. It also comes with this USB micro cable, and it comes with the head strap, and mine must be an older version because it doesn't have the Nightfox branded logo on it. Finally, it comes with the head strap adapter. I choose to run mine on a helmet, but it's nice to have both. It's a lot less of an abrasive look to be fishing or walking in the park at night with a head strap and something that looks like a GoPro compared to a military bump helmet. The mount actually fits nicely onto the Argus G24 clone with a click, and it doesn't wobble. It does have a very satisfying balance to it, so flipping it up and down feels like you're role-playing as Captain Price. To charge this thing, you peel back the rubber cap that helps keep this thing waterproof, and plug in the cable. Once you hook it up to power, it turns on and you get this display. It only took me a few hours to get it charged up fully. Alright, now let's get into comparisons. Here's footage of a hallway at the top of my staircase during daylight, with an eye chart at the bottom. The distance is about 7 yards. Now I'll cycle the illuminator levels from 0 to 7. You'll notice once we get past level 1, there isn't a whole lot of difference in visibility while indoors. Yeah, it gets a little brighter, but brighter doesn't always equal more useful. That changes a lot when you take it outside, as we'll see in a little bit. Here I test the device's digital zoom. It gets up to 2x magnification, and as you can see it's not great, but it does help read signs at a further distance. One of the device's biggest downfalls, depending on what you use it for, is how visible the 850 nanometer IR illuminators are to the human eye. As I cycle through modes 1 through 7, you see the purplish glow get brighter and brighter. The Swift 2 tries to fix that problem by adding a 940 nanometer IR illuminator that's supposed to be a lot more difficult for the human eye to see. The idea being, use the 940 when you're indoors for close work, and the 850 when you need more range, like outside. To give the Swift a fair chance, I tested it outdoors in the best possible conditions. Full moon, very little cloud cover, and the snow on the ground to make things look brighter. I thought it would look awesome. I'll be honest, I was disappointed when I realized I could see better with my natural vision than through the device. IR 0 mode is supposed to be your passive mode, meaning you aren't actively putting out IR light because there's enough ambient light for the device to use. Well, you can't make out this posted sign 7 yards in front of me until IR 3. So right off the bat, we know active IR illumination is necessary with this device, even more so than Gen 1. That is because, of course, Gen 1 analog devices intensify light with technology that's besides the point of this video. A digital unit just uses whatever light that's available to it, and the lower the sensor's resolution, the worse its ability to see low light is. So the Swift's passive night vision performance is pretty bad, but it does pretty well within 40 yards when actively putting out IR light. Now that we've set realistic expectations, let's look at a few examples of what it might be useful for. This small creek leads to a big lake I love fishing in. It's frozen now, of course, but in warmer weather you could use the Swift for fishing with some glowing topwater lures or luminescent braided lines. It would be awesome to record a catch with the Pro 2 model. Night hikes are another fun use for it. Usually with night vision devices you want some moonlight, so the device performs better passively. But we know now that with the Swift, it really doesn't matter what the moon is doing. You need IR illumination. So you actually kind of want to hike with this thing on moonless nights. Otherwise, you'd literally be better off with your natural night vision. One consideration for using this thing is a helmet-mounted or handheld IR flashlight to extend the life of the Swift. It's advertised as having 3 hours of battery life with mixed IR use. On the night I recorded all this footage, I was out for close to 2.5 hours, and it was below 20 degrees and windy, which does hurt the battery life. I cycled through levels 1 through 7 often the whole night, and the battery level indicator drops to yellow on the higher settings. But interestingly, it climbs back up when you use a lower setting. When I got home and powered up the device on the next day, the battery level was still green. So if you plan on staying out a long time, use a separate illumination device to prolong the Swift's battery life. Since replacing batteries in the field isn't an easy process like the newer models, an external battery pack might also be a good idea. Another drawback to the Swift, in my opinion, is the eyepiece eliminates your peripheral vision. You can't see anything besides the screen in front of your eyes. Whereas with a binocular like a PVS-14 or even a digital binocular like the Nightfox Prowl, you can simply tilt your head up slightly and look under or around the binocular to see your feet, or check to see if the light you see way off in the distance is infrared or white light. The Swift 2's answer to that problem is an upgraded eyepiece that's supposed to be easy to fold forward, and that supposedly helps gain a bit of peripheral vision back. But I'm not sure how well it works as I've never personally tested one. On English Air Gunner's review, at around the 4-minute and 30-second mark, it shows him doing just that. You can technically fold the eyepiece of the Swift 1 forward, just like he does in the video, but it always snaps back after a few minutes, so I just don't bother trying anymore. Another thing that I'd like to be able to do with a night vision device, besides fishing and hiking, is driving and hunting. The Swift is going to get a hard pass for me when it comes to driving. If I just walk too fast with it, I can get a little disoriented because of the lag between the camera and the screen's communication. I'll leave the driving for the higher end devices. But would it be a good idea for hunting? How would an IR laser and a red dot sight work looking through the screen of the Swift? To answer those questions, I brought it out to my tree stand deep in the woods. It's overlooking that same creek from earlier. It gives me a nice elevated view where I can see past the creek to where the vegetation starts getting dense. That's about the 40-yard mark. It's easily doable for a hog hunter hunting over bait, a predator hunter calling in raccoons with a caller, or maybe even a fox or coyote if you get lucky enough to call one in that close. The log at the edge of the creek that I'm illuminating with the red vis laser will pretend is a big old boar hog coming in to take a drink from the creek. or a coyote, or whatever it is that you hunt. Use your imagination. The Swift works surprisingly well with the IR laser from the PEC 15 clone. It's absolutely a viable option for active aiming. Aiming through a red dot is also doable with a strong weapon-mounted IR flashlight. You can't use the device's onboard illuminators while looking through the red dot, obviously, because the light would reflect off the glass and make a blurry mess. The reason aiming through the red dot doesn't really look good in this footage is because the IR flashlight that I'm using is a M600V clone by Sotac, and its infrared mode has a big dark circle right in the middle, which makes it pretty useless. If you use a decent light, it does look pretty good for a budget device. For comparison's sake, I put up a clip of the PVS-14 with both aiming solutions. The PVS-14's got a way better field of view, clarity, and peripheral vision, but its price certainly reflects it at 20 times the cost. To wrap up the video, I'll bring the Swift into the shed where my chickens stay. It's dark. I mean, you can't see your hand in front of your face dark. And that's what fascinates me about this stuff. Like the old adage says, you don't know what you don't know. Well, you can't see what you can't see. Devices that give you the ability to see in total darkness without breaching through the darkness like what a white light would do is really stinking cool. I'm glad that my first time playing with a digital unit was with an older device like the Swift 1. It could only get better from here. I thought I'd be spoiled by my Gen 3 PVS-14, but it just made me more curious about the constant improvements coming out in digital night vision. With the way technology constantly improves, there might come a day where digital is just as good as analog. I'll give my final thoughts as you see the last comparison footage. The Swift is fun to use for sure. For goofing around with the boys, pest control, casual predator hunting, it'll get you into the game and scratch the night vision itch. You're not going to be driving, running, or doing anything serious with these. You're not going to be able to see passively without supplemental IR illumination. Keep your expectations realistic, and you'll probably be pretty satisfied with them. That being said, unless you find them used for really cheap, there's really no reason to buy the Swift 1 anymore. For just a few bucks more, the version 2s are a massive upgrade in features and are better in pretty much every way. Keep in mind I've never actually used the newer version, so I'm not speaking from experience on that. I hope that this video was useful for you, or at least entertaining. Ideally, both. I did a comparison between the Gen 1 and the Gen 3 devices you saw here, if you're interested in watching that. I got more night vision and thermal videos to come. Subscribe if that's what you're into, and comment below with any questions. Thank you for watching.